Oh god, Tate on why real men don't cry. Are we ready for the most toxic of masculinities? Let's check this shit out.
I've had a lot of guys on Twitter say, real men cry, and if women can cry, men can cry too, there's nothing wrong with it. And there absolutely is something wrong with it, and I'll explain to you why. Life as a man is far more difficult than life as a woman. And one of the key components...
No. It's gonna depend on many factors. You can't just say, all men have it worse, or all women have it worse. People have different struggles throughout their life depending on a variety of factors. Gender is one of them, but to say all men have it worse than women is, at best, a way of completely ignoring all the issues that women face in society. The higher rates of sexual assault, the fact that, on the whole, yes, women do get paid less than men. It is more difficult to get ahead in companies as a woman and support yourself. There's all these views of how women are supposed to look. This is encapsulated best, I think, by the phrase. I think Family Guy made the joke at one point. I know, Family Guy, but still. They said something like, Lois, fat men aren't fat. Only fat women are fat. Like, weirdly enough, and this is true, my weight felt like it became much more of an issue for me after I came out as trans. And I know it shouldn't, because my health is a thing regardless, but I feel more judged about my weight identifying as a woman and being out about that to people than I did as a man. Or presenting as a man, rather. Like, people have different issues depending upon who they are. It's an individual thing. Come on.
of manhood always has been and always will be. We have the ability to control ourselves and not act emotionally. Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be.
Disagree. Everyone is emotional. We're all human beings. I think that often within our society, women tend to be more in touch with their feelings and more understanding of them. I'll even admit that since I got on hormones, I think I have a greater understanding of my own emotions. But the problem that we have when looking at emotion within society is society tends to deem female emotion as frivolous and male emotion as valid. So if someone like Tate gets real mad and starts screaming about something, basically being hysterical, people are like, yeah, that guy's driven. That guy has passion for the thing he's talking about. But if a woman does the same thing, people just go, oh, she's hysterical. She's just emotional, whatever. As if very true things can't come out of your emotional exuberance for a topic, right? Like, it's very strange.
Saying that I felt like crying, so I cried, this makes me a real man, is as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in. This makes me a real man.
No, because the reason that we say that smashing someone's face in is bad is because that's assault and it has negative consequences both for you and the person you're hurting. You crying and admitting that you're having some sort of negative emotion is not a bad thing. It's a positive thing for you. Tate, do you understand how context works?
The hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course.
Probably. Do you think no one on the beaches of Normandy were crying? I guarantee there were a decent number of nervous fucking breakdowns happening. Like, everything isn't Saving Private Ryan, guy. War is shit.
Of course they did, but they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had an honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man. Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the...
Why are you framing crying and admitting that you're having a feeling as submission to them? It sets up this adversarial relationship between you and your emotions when your emotions are part of you. You're not at odds with your feelings. They're a part of who you are. And if you're sad about something, if something is making you incredibly sad or depressed or whatever, and it makes you cry, that's fine. That's an outlet for your feelings. If you just hold them in and pretend they don't exist and act like you're an enemy with them, it's going to create a ton of negative outcomes for you. This is what people mean when they're talking about toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity isn't saying that all masculinity is toxic. It's about these attitudes that we have in Western society about the fact that men shouldn't be emotional, men should be all these things, whatever, that cause these negative outcomes. It's stuff like this that causes men to have higher, like, suicide rates, higher homelessness, because men don't tend to reach out and create support networks because they aren't honest about the ways they're feeling. Like, a lot of the problems men face in society are a result of our toxic attitudes towards masculinity and what it should mean to be a man. It's very, very silly.
The backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying. Because we're all human. There's times in your life, as a man, you're going to feel like crying. It's going to happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And
you're not Batman. You're not Batman trying to forge your will to fix your broken back. You're not trying to have complete bodily control. I think Tate needs to see the movie Inside Out. I don't think he understands what emotions are.
There's no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry, and you act appropriately as a man should. The men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you. And
Tate, you cheat on your girlfriends constantly. What? Why do you even bring this up? If someone cheats on you and you're in a monogamous relationship with them, it would make sense to cry. You've been betrayed in a way that's fundamental to the human experience. What?
these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. They look at people like me, and I say, Ross. And that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multi-millionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4 times kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more. He's trying to drag me down to his level. So
Tate, no. No. We just want you to be in touch with your feelings so you don't get depressed and kill yourself. Like, dude, I've seen your videos. You come off as incredibly insecure and trying to cover for that by putting out this, like, bravado and, like, constantly talking about how rich you are. Like, you could be incredibly rich and still have something missing in your life. It's pretty clear that something's not going right with you, that you feel that this is what you need to put off in terms of personality. Like, dude, you can do better. You could use your influence and wealth to help people instead of just being a dickbag all the time.
So I can be a little crybaby like him. And he wants everyone else who reads his tweets to be a crybaby.
Devious Chillster says he comes off as the guy who would kill John Wick's dog.
No man wants to be a little crybaby if they're honest with themselves, and no woman certainly wants to fuck a little crybaby. So don't listen to the advice of people who are living lives you wouldn't want to live. What's actually interesting is, I always use this analogy. If you could build yourself from the ground up, if you could literally just, like from a video game, just tick characteristic boxes and build yourself, nobody would choose to be a liberal soy boy. Nobody would
disagree. I wouldn't, because I'd be going straight for the no penis box. I'd check that. But, what's wrong with being, like, left-wing? And what does left-wing have to do with crying? Like, you should be in touch with your feelings regardless of your political affiliations. Avoiding your feelings is unhealthy.
Choose to be a small, weak guy who has to cry when he gets upset. Everyone, when they get that application form from God saying build yourself for your next life, would tick tall, strong, smart, mentally tough, doesn't cry, gets pussy, rich. They tick all the things they tell me I'm bad, all the assets I have, everything that I am, they tell me is bad. But if they had the choice to have these things instantly...
No, Tate. If I woke up tomorrow and I was in your life, I would have to change absolutely everything about it. Because your life sounds like a nightmare to me. You wake up every morning with women who you know are only with you because of your money, because you treat them like shit. I've seen you do so on the videos, and I've heard how you talk about them. I guarantee no one in your life hangs around you because they like you. It's all about your money and this pursuit of, like, objects, and even treating other human beings like objects. You have no personality outside of telling other people their shit. Like, it just seems vacuous. It seems like the saddest life. I would never want to wake up and be Tate.
They would sign up. And the reason they don't have these things is because all of these things come with hard work. To be physically strong, you have to work out. That's difficult. To be financially independent, you have to be smart. That's difficult. So they don't have these things because they're hard for them to acquire, but if they're very easy for them to acquire, they'd have them all. Nobody wants...
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
Darth Moonbear, thank you for following. Am I back? Back? You see me? Okay. Strange.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
David
capitalism.
USA, bits to fix stream. Thank you. Weird. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Can you guys... How's the video? Choppy?
Wants to be a crybaby. The mark of being a real man is not being a crybaby. The mark of a real man is walking down the street, 5 guys with knives coming up to try and rape your girlfriend, and you look at them in the face and saying, fuck you. It's not crumbling into a ball, crying your eyes out and say, I have emotions too. That just makes you a bitch.
No, Tate, it makes you a human being. Please join the rest of us in not being weird.